But one thing we do know, it's Friday morning, your kids keep growing, and we want their hearts and their safety and their spirits to grow along with them, and we get a lot of help for that from Trish. It's time for Triple P with Trish, brought to you by Triple P Parenting of Elkhart County. Trish, good morning. We're so glad to have you here. Now,
professional broadcaster.
We're having a little bit of a temperature issue. We're not supposed to talk about stuff behind the scenes, but this is WFRN, where we're just open with each other, and so we do. So it's the air conditioner in the studio isn't working. And Trish, you came, and Cody and I are like, "Oh, Trish, we're sorry, the air conditioning's not working." But you don't mind at all.
No, I actually have a jacket on. I'm a little chilly this morning.
What the world?
Wow.
And you're from northern Michigan.
Yes.
Like if a Michigan girl like you holds up her hand, you're from, tell me if I'm right here, if I've got this right, Trish, you're from like the top of the ring finger, kind of?
Yes.
Okay, wow,
yes,
I got that.
Exactly. Good job.
So you should be really extra hot, right? But you're not.
I'm not. No, my husband definitely is in northern Michigan all the way through because he wears like a rain jacket in the winter, and he's good.
So
where last year he was so sweet. He bought me this massive jacket that goes down to my boots,
Oh,
and
my.
it has
Wow.
this massive hood, and it's super thick. So I'm like super excited.
It's
It's
like
probably a judgment call for you today on which jacket to wear.
Yeah, because now I actually feel like I'm warm in the winter with that giant poncho of a jacket.
It's like a slumber party jacket.
Yes, a sleeping bag.
Well, as always, there's always great insights and encouragement for all of us parents. So thank you, Trish, for taking some time again. And what we're looking forward to some thoughts.
I just want to talk about parenting in general today. Because parenting is one of the biggest challenges that any adult or young adult could adventure into. And we usually start like with zero experience and no clue of really what we're getting into. Even if you've gone to school to be a parenting coach or, like birthing and just a teacher, like you still don't know the reality that comes with being a parent.
And can I say, as a guy who didn't become a parent until 42, 41, I got married at 41. For decades, I listened to Focus on the Family.
Yeah.
Mostly on WFRN. And I was like, I hope I'm a dad someday. I'm taking note. That's a great point. And now that I'm actually a dad in real time, it's like, I'm trying to think, which episode talked about that?
Let's get back into the archives. What was that?
I've done that. I grew up listening to Focus on the Family, and I remember things, and I found that they did have archives. It's been really helpful.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Well, so parenting, it's a big challenge. Whether you start old like me or young, it's a big challenge.
Yeah. So one way to really help yourself is to realize that you don't have to have all the answers, and your friends don't have to have all the answers, and you don't have to parent like your friends or your parents, but you do need to discover how to parent the way that you want to parent. So read the books if you want to, and listen to the radio shows.
Yes.
And search for help and ways to parent your kids with the values and the characteristic traits that you really want them to have. So reach out for help and realize that every parent, no matter if they admit it or not, struggles with bedtimes at some point. They struggle with getting their kids to eat food, tantrums, disobedience, toilet training,
The struggle is
teenagers.
real. Yes.
Yeah, the struggle's real. That's great. Yeah, because we've all seen the families where they just look perfect. We're like, oh, why can't I ever get it together
That's
like
called
them?
It's not real.
It's not real.
A Facebook profile pic is what that's called.
Yeah, I don't enjoy Facebook for that reason.
I heard somebody say once, they said, the idea was, stop looking at everybody else's highlight reels and looking at your own outtakes on your cutting room floor of your life. Like they've got the outtakes too on the cutting room floor.
Yep.
They're just not putting on the highlight reel.
Even Vincey from the WFRN afternoon show posted something yesterday, and it was something like, people ask her all the time, how do you do it? You have 6 kids. And her response was, I don't.
She has 6 kids? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
She does.
Wow.
She does.
I admire any parent who has more than 2 because I stopped at 2.
So here's something that I would just like to throw out and encourage. And I know there are a lot of families that look a lot of different ways, and they don't have this luxury. But I thought it was a luxury. Was when we were starting our family, I was an inexperienced parent, and I kind of felt bad about that. But one of the things I kept telling myself was, my child is an inexperienced child as well. Like, we're both learning I'm learning how to be a parent. They're learning how to be a child.
That's an interesting thought.
This relationship grows every day.
We're all new at this stage of this. Yeah.
Yes. And generally, our kids adore us no matter the mistakes we make. So they're super forgiving.
And the other way around. We adore them regardless of the mistakes they make.
Yeah.
So we can kind of call today's Triple P with Trish, stay calm and parent on. And you got some more tips for that.
Yeah, parent on. Just a couple reminders. Just have realistic expectations of yourself and your child to help lessen the stress that comes with being a parent. So again, don't expect your 3-year-old to be able to do the laundry or, and then again, on the flip side, it is okay to expect your 16-year-old to be able to do some laundry if you've taught them how to do it.
I think the gray area is about 5.5, right in there. Should they do it or not? No, I'm kidding.
With my kids, I taught them at age 5.
You did?
Yep.
Wow,
they
Trish.
did not do it alone, but I would stand there and watch them. But they thought it was fun. We were able to turn it into a game. Hanging over the washing machine, they thought was great.
We're a little behind on that, but I think it has more to do with our creepy basement than anything else.
Yeah, that'll do it.
If he cleared the cobwebs out from around the washer
they might be more willing to do the laundry.
When we were house shopping years ago, that was the main reason why we did not get the house, is because the basement was super creepy and that's where the laundry room was. And I was like, I'm never doing laundry. So have realistic expectations, knowing that the basement might creep out your kids. That's a good realistic expectation to know that it probably wouldn't work. Make sure to take time to enjoy your child. So look, when you're having a rough day, just try and sit back and think like, okay, well, what is going good? Like, what do I enjoy about my child? A lot of parents often come to me and they say, okay, we need to fix my kid. And I'm like, okay, what's the problem? Like, what's going on? And then to get the parents to refocus on the problem is the problem, not the child. Because people aren't the problem. The problem's the problem.
I don't do bumper stickers, but if I did, that'd be a good bumper sticker. That's cool. And what a gift you're giving people, helping parents to refocus. Take a moment, refocus.
Because we only get our kids for a couple short years.
Can I share? I feel like there's so many parent things I struggle with, and I know God's there to help me. I've got a wonderful wife who's amazing and more experienced than me, but in parenting. But one thing I don't feel like I struggle with is savoring the moment. I've always loved kids. I didn't become a dad until 5.5 years ago. Didn't have a baby until about 3.5 years ago. And so I do feel like I drink in the moments, but sometimes, like anybody, I find myself getting short with the kids. Yeah. And so one thing I do, and maybe this can help people, I do a little mental head game, a little quickie mental like role play, where in my mind it's 20 years from now or 10 years from now, and the littles are adults or teenagers, and I imagine that and how much I will miss that, and I imagine that for just today, just for now, just for this evening, I got to go back in time and be with Luke at 3.5 again, or with Katie at 10 again.
Live each day as if it could be your last.
Yes, and that really reframes it. Like this, it helps me see what a gift this is. Yeah. So that's something I've done that helps me when I get a little short.
I think that's great because my kids both start high school next year, and I mean, I'm looking at them, I'm looking at their age, and I'm like, oh my word, my babies are growing up. And like now the reality is really setting in, like, okay, I need to make sure our relationship is really good because I want them to come home in the summers, at college. I want them to visit me when
bring their babies so you can spoil their babies.
They have kids someday. Yeah, exactly. So, but one important thing to really help us sit back and reflect and to keep our emotional gauge on track is to take time to take care of ourselves as parents, because we can be so busy working all the time, and then we come home, get into the second shift of taking care of our family, the house, the bills, the chores. Sometimes people have to bring work home with them, but finding time to take for yourself is really important. So what is something you guys have done to help your wife take time for herself? My husband used to do this all the time.
Curveball to help our wife.
Yes, to help your wife. So you ever say, hey, looks like you might enjoy a coffee. Why don't you go to Starbucks?
Cody, you can go first, or I can start if you would like me to.
I think a more common thing is we will give each other like time at home in the evenings or in the afternoons alone. And like if we need to go to the grocery store, like one of us will offer to take the kids to the grocery store and leave the other one at home.
Wow.
Like that's a very common thing for us to offer, and something that's not like a gift or anything super special.
And normally it's the reverse of, I'll watch the kids at home and you can go ahead and be alone and go grocery shopping, right? Which isn't super relaxing for me. What about you?
My wife, Lisa Rose, her new passion is making soap.
Really?
Yes. Oh my goodness, does she love to make soap? And she does everything. She finds ways to make it better and better. So it's getting to the point where this stuff's amazing. And she loves to give it as gifts and other things. And so more and more it's like, if I can just, I think the key is it's easy to be with the kids. For me, it's easy to be with the kids and have fun and not worry about it. So she can go in her craft room in the basement and make soap. But I think the key is, and I'm trying to get better at this, I'll be very real, help her feel like, yes, sweetheart, I know you love the kids and I know you're fine being with them while I'm out of the picture downstairs. And I know that if someone broke in the house, you'd do whatever it took to protect them or something like that. But feeling like I'm remembering mommy stuff, you know? And I'm trying to get better at that. But getting them upstairs for bath or whatever at the right time, brushing teeth, not having a snack after brushing teeth, only before brushing, stuff like that. I'm getting that down. I'm working on that.
So you're trying to stick to her routine? Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I get involved with that a lot. But if she's off, which isn't much, but sometimes now she goes down and makes soap. She's been with them a lot, more than me. Then I'm trying to do it as well as she does it. I've always been like, sure, no problem, but I'm trying to do it as well as she does it. So I'm realizing that I think this is fairly typical. Guys, male, female, guys are more likely to just be like, you know what? We're going to have fun and we'll all be alive at the end. It'll be okay. Yeah. And that doesn't really quite do it for her. Yeah. So, yeah.
Oh, that's really great that you're supporting her and sticking to the routine.
I'm working on it. I'm getting better.
And I'll just encourage you, as men, as fathers, you guys don't have to be just like your wives, because our kids, they need the role model of a father, of the male figure. And even to see how men and women do things differently is really important. Because,
that's interesting.
They're going to go off into the world, and men and women respond to challenges and conflict in very different ways. And they respond to times where there's needing to be some nurturing happening. Men and women respond in very different ways.
I think a very wise sage once said about that, said, boy, howdy. Do they ever?
I think, not to extend this, but like the more you try to be like your spouse, I think the more your children are likely to compare it. Like, well, that's not how mom does it. Well, that's not how dad does it. And if you had totally different approaches, there'd probably be less of that.
I could agree with that statement.
I don't know if that's
not
good or
all
bad.
Kids will do that, but some definitely will. They'll call you out on it. Yeah. Yeah.
Now you talked to about getting support in all of this. Trish.
Yeah. So reach out to us at PPLCartCounty.org. And whether or not you want to get involved in Triple P or you're looking for something else, give us a shout out and we'll help you get connected with what you really want and what you're needing, because we're here to serve you guys as families.
Boy, are you. We so appreciate Triple P here at WFRN. Also, Triple P Elkhart County is on Facebook.
Yes, we are.
And lots of events, stepping stone seminars.
They're coming up really quickly, and we have some teen events coming up. And I do not say this enough, but a lot of what we have, I want to say 90% of it is also offered in Spanish.
What?
So if you would like to come to a Spanish event, go onto our website. I don't speak Spanish. I wish I did. I'm working forward towards it.
You probably know a few words.
Hola.
Burrito.
There we go.
Sombrero.
But yeah, so it's offered in Spanish. So
that's
if you
fantastic.
Have friends that would like
and
to
it's
come.
all free in both languages, English and Spanish, all free. And free child support at these events.
Yes, not all of them. So look on the website, but most of them have childcare, yes.
Okay, all of that at PPLCartCounty.org. Trish, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
.org. Trish, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
.org. Trish.